really difficult there. The flick on in for Brian Brobby, who then finishes off with a great finish. But it starts with him being aggressive in the box and not letting the Arsenal players defend the way they want to, and then they get the reward. And then Arsenal come back at them and they straight down the other end. And I said, putting your body on the line for your team, that's exactly what I mean, and that's why it means so much to him as the defender to stopping that. And you can see the reaction from all the fans from behind the goal. And Arsenal will not have many tougher games than that this season, I promise you. And you can see, I mean, he started his career at the Arsenal Academy, and what a performance him and Sunderland put in today. I thought they thoroughly deserved the point. Yeah,
Dan Ballard, player of the match. But you mentioned that challenge on Marino. They looked at it, VAR looked at it and decided there was nothing to see there. What was your view on it, Theo?
Well, my view, I look at it a little bit differently, to be honest, and it's not clear and obvious. However, it's early in the game, it's 7 minutes in the game, and Don Ballard, of course, wants to put his mark on the game, should we just call it. And Mikel Arteta spoke about being disruptive, and he's definitely, from my opinion, right, he's disruptive, and there's a slight movement from the elbow to Marino's cheekbone. Me and Al definitely probably don't agree on it. However, I do feel like his elbow's in quite a high condition, should we just call it, and it was very disruptive, and it did
I think, as a defender, if he allows that forward to get across him, Marino, his manager goes absolutely berserk at him. That's his space, and he cannot allow any forward to get across him. So he then settles himself, and then he goes for the header. He can't jump without doing that for a header, and I don't think there's anything deliberate there at all. I think it's more brilliant defending than anything else.
And you would have done that if you were challenging for the ball as a striker?
I wouldn't allow anyone to sort of get in me, or in and around me, or in front of me, and that's his job as a defender. He cannot allow the forward to get in front of him, and he didn't.
Theo, as Alan was saying earlier, it worked perfectly, particularly in the first half. But what changed for us on the second half?
What changed? Mikel Arteta got into the dressing room first before the players, and the intensity was the biggest challenge that they had to face, because they were up against a very tough Sunderland team who haven't been beaten at home this year, and the numbers they committed forward as well. At times, Bukayo Saka was finding it hard in the first half to get involved in the game, but this is what I'm talking about, the bravery with committing bodies forward. Declan Rice always starts to press, and if you give Arsenal an opportunity, they're going to punish you. Simple as that. And you can't afford to do that because Sunderland worked tremendously hard. You know, Al spoke, a couple of weeks ago about the fullbacks committing forward and putting in positions where you don't really expect. But this is what we're talking about, the difference, the bravery, the committing the bodies forward, like I said before. And this is where I felt at times Arsenal were always going to cause problems and make chances out of nothing. There's a little bit of a snapshot here, but this was the danger. This is the warning signs that Sunderland had to be aware of. Zubimendi, I felt, was absolutely brilliant in the second half. Just a bit unlucky here, of course. But this is the luck that Arsenal probably get in this season because of they don't give up. They don't give you many opportunities. And Leandro Trossard, for me, is a player that is probably at times, there's been questions, but you can just see here, Sadiki points to Hume to say, look, you take him. But I don't understand why you would then step and give that opportunity, that space to Trossard, particularly coming the inside. And you can see how disappointed he is. It's a fantastic finish, not taking a finish away, but look, Leandro Trossard's come up with some very, very important goals right now for Arsenal Football Club, and I think it's a really good point in the end, to be honest with you. And when I look at it, it's a balanced game. I think Sunderland probably deserves something out of the game, but Arsenal as well.
Alan, they'll be looking at Manchester City Liverpool tomorrow on Match of the Day.
Yeah.
What difference does that Arsenal result make to that game?
No, I agree with Theo. I think in the grand scheme of things, the way it was today and how tough it is for teams going to Sunderland, I think a point's a decent result, and they'll be hoping that those two draw tomorrow.
Your opponent, the margins that you win football matches, we really understand that and recognize that. So we understand the difficulty of we've done winning 10 games in a row and not conceding any goals. Now they have the international break. We are very disappointed because we won the 3 points, obviously, but we have to go again.
The lads worked hard until the end. They believed that it was possible to change the dynamic. It was a tough game, as expected, because we knew before that we faced probably one of the best teams in Europe, and it was a strong benchmark for us. We struggled, but we stayed together, connected with this belief that it was possible to score one more goal.
Just talk us through that goal, that equaliser.
I think it was a long ball, I don't know from who, but then the big man with a good header, and I was at the right place.
How immense has the man been alongside you today?
Yeah, really good, really important today for the team. So, yeah.
Dan, do you sense there's something really special happening here at Sunderland? You've taken on the best team in the Premier League, arguably one of the best teams in Europe, and in fairness, gone toe-to-toe.
Yeah, I mean, we're very calm, to be honest. It's a long season. We've had a good start, obviously, but it's been a lot of games that have been tight. So, if we keep going like this, hopefully we can, achieve our goal.
The Black Cats back in the Premier League after 8 seasons away, and they look like they belong there. They did so well, especially because Arsenal had won 10 in a row in all competitions, hadn't conceded in 8 games. That said, what's your perspective from an Arsenal perspective? What do you feel? We watched this in the Premier League live studio together, didn't we?
Yeah, watching the first half, I felt that Arsenal struggled a little bit. They had a lot of control of the ball, but they didn't really know exactly what to do. Sunderland obviously changed their game plan. They were going a lot longer than what they normally do, and they upset Arsenal. Even to the point where they were closing Arsenal down, making Arsenal play long balls, which is straight into Sunderland's hands. So it's a great game of football.
It was.
As obviously Arsenal in my blood, I was looking for 3 points, but we spoke earlier about not getting anything, get something from the game, even when you're not playing your best.
And they managed to get something from the game, at least walking away with a point. Granit Xhaka, we spoke about him being a really good captain and a good leader in this Sunderland side. And he was actually really important in the goal and even before the goal in urging his teammates to go a bit more direct.
Yeah, he certainly was. He's been a leader all season, hasn't he? He leads by example, covers the most distance, creates the most chances, forward passes, etc. You see here is obviously being a leader that he is. He's saying, let's go long. They wasn't scared to go long. I was really impressed with Sunderland today, tactically. They mixed it up. And again, they went long. The first time here didn't really work out for them. The second time, it certainly did. Big Dan Bollard with his presence there. He makes a second movement, and look at this for a finish. Touch, roof of the net for a centre-half. It's not a bad finish, is it? It's not a bad finish. But I was very impressed, like I said, with Sunderland and the way that they mixed it up. On here now, I was just looking at Timber's position. I think as a full-back, certainly as a centre-half, I'd want my full-back in these positions to be next to me. Would make his decision for Saliba to go and close that gap a little bit quicker. Obviously, Timber was a little bit advanced, so then he felt like he couldn't quite shut the gap, and ultimately that's where Bollard got in and finished superbly.
It was, wasn't it? And then I guess we were talking about it, that we wanted to see how Arsenal would respond, because they're not used to being in this position. Everything's been very plain sailing so far. But then it was Saka that responded.
Yeah, it was, and when every time I see Bakayoko, he normally cuts in onto his left, but even on his right foot, he's got sneaky power, But Sunderland are playing out from the right, which is what they didn't do first half, and this played straight into Arsenal's hands. But Saka's touch there, and then the pace he generates on that. I'm sure that the goalie thinks that this is going wide, because from when I watched it from behind, I saw, he's asking actually for the ball to be played back to him there, which would have been obviously the better option, but the guy keeps hold of it and then gets robbed by Declan. But the finish is fantastic, but just felt that he thought it was going wide because he wasn't full stretch when he goes down. You can see it better from this angle. You watch his left arm, it's not a full stretched arm, and I think he's a little bit surprised if it's gone in. It's a great touch and then a great finish by Saka. Like I said, the power that he generates in that right foot is brilliant.
Superb from Declan Rice as well, wasn't it? His pressing, he's one of the best holding midfielders in European football at the moment, and the way that he pressed, won the ball back, created that opportunity there. Then we thought the winner came next. And we thought. David definitely was hoping that it was. But
I was up.
How good was this goal? No, this is a bit of class. This is a bit of class. And when you look here, you've got every single Sunderland player in the 18-yard box. It's difficult to break that down, so sometimes you're looking at players to just create that extra bit of class, and this certainly was it from Trossard. Comes inside, gets half a yard here, bang, and just hits it. It's a great strike to put Arsenal 2-1 up. But like I said, sometimes when games are tight, you look at players to do something out of the ordinary, and this was definitely out of the ordinary.
He has that ability, doesn't he?
It's a great strike. I don't think the goalkeeper sees the actual strike. That's why he moves a little bit late, Roofs. But even if he sees that, he ain't saving it.
Yeah.
Not even I would.
I'm sure you would. So great moment there for Arsenal, thinking that they were going to walk away with all 3 points, but it wasn't meant to be, because we saw Brian Brobby and we saw the fact that it was his first goal for the club. We heard him in his interview. This was in the 94th minute. It just goes to show you cannot switch off, you cannot rest in the Premier League.
No, you can't. And it's just it's a little chip in there, and it's the same again with Dan Ballard causing havoc.
Yep.
And then getting the knockdown. I'm a little bit surprised in Raya's decision to come. Well, not so much to come, but the way he actually goes to catch this. Where if he goes to punch it, he gets there a little bit earlier, and maybe he gets it before the striker. But this is a fantastic finish, by the way. He's under pressure from Gabriel, and he still gets that finish on it. So it's a great finish, as much as I didn't like it, really.
You've got to credit them, don't you?
Yeah.
You've got to credit Regis Labrie as well for putting together such a good tactical plan, and also for his team and their character. Points from losing positions, they're right there at the top, and that will be very helpful throughout this Premier League season, Gary.
Of course it will, yeah, and it's all about attitude, isn't it? It's all about not putting your head down when things are against you. So he's got a great attitude with the squad. I thought the game as a whole was a great game. Sunderland unbeaten at home, so they're obviously generating a great atmosphere there and enjoying their life in the Premier League so far. So what's that? They're up to 4th now. It's a great start to the season for Sunderland.
It has been, hasn't it? Sorry to make you suffer one more time. There was a last-minute chance, wasn't it? A really late chance. We thought we'll still have the lead at the top of the table, but how do you think they will view today's result?
A little bit disappointing with the chances they had. But I think that, to come out with a point shows the character of the team. There was mistakes that were made, but cleaner finishing, and you take all 3 points. So it'll be a little bit of a downer, I think.
OK, right, on that note, let's take a quick break, after which we will analyse more of what has happened.
For sure, and I love the way the team reacted, and we scored the 2 goals and go ahead. It's just a shame that in the last minute we concede the goal in the manner that we've done it, but that's the league.
Mikel, thank you.
Thank you.
As in Europe, to kind of find that courage and that kind of hunger and desire to come from behind and still keep putting balls in the boxes, still trying to make Arsenal defend, still trying to create the opportunity, that's testament to them and to the manager as well, because a lot of people would have looked at them this season and thought, yeah, they've spent a bit of money as well. Have they got enough to stay in the division? And I think they've already shown us, even though it's early days, that they've got more than enough with the experience of Xhaka, some of the other signings they've made as well. It all comes from the manager. And I think they've been an absolute credit to the division. But Stadium of Light will be a big reason as to why they stay in this division, because it's such a tough place to go.
And it's perhaps ironic when we talk about Sunderland spending that the man of the match and one of the